So for me, the biggest challenge was finding a container that was going to be functional enough for my terrarium. My first choice was this guy right here. I really wanted to use this bottle. I just loved the sticker on it. I liked the idea of having this little bottle with a plant inside of it, but the problem is the hole is really small. So I was gonna come into some difficulties when putting the plant inside of here. It was gonna create a problem regarding damaging the plant. So then I thought, well, why not a vase? I could use a vase to be able to plant it. And the mouth is wide enough, everything about it's wide enough, but it just didn't seem recyclable enough for me. And the color would deter from actually seeing the plant and the different layers within the terrarium. Also, it doesn't provide a option to have it closed if need be. So I didn't like that idea. X'd on that one. So then my next thought was this little guy right here, this little jar. I love this little jar. I like the idea of how it would look. You can have the option to have it closed or open terrarium, but in the end it turned out to be, as you can see, there's still some sand on here. I tried it. It turned out to be too small for what I needed. So in the end, I went with this pickle jar, which was perfect. It added the exact amount of everything that I needed. Space, it's open and closable. It's got a wide mouth. I can get my hand in there and get things planted. So it just really turned out to be the right solution for my terrarium.
This is my terrarium. I used an old pickle jar, some rocks and sand and potting soil, and a clipping from a plant that I have in my front yard. This is probably my most favorite plant. It is called Dragonfire paddle plant. It's a succulent. It's called Dragonfire paddle plant because if you look really closely along the edges of the leaves itself are red, and the more it grows, the redder it becomes. It's also called a paddle plant because if you look at the shape of the leaves, they look like little paddles. I would use this terrarium in the exploration section of the 5E lesson plan because it would provide a hands-on activity for students to engage in, but I could also use it in the engagement part of the lesson to introduce the lesson itself and capture the students' attention. If you look closely, what I did was I have 3 layers here. I have rock, which helps with the irrigation of water, and then I have sand, which also helps with the irrigation. And then I have potting soil, but this potting soil had to be mixed with more sand because this is a succulent plant. They do not grow well in regular potting soil because it's high in nitrates, which causes the plant to actually burn up. So you mix regular potting soil with just sand. You can buy succulent potting soil, but I wanted to use things I already had on hand. So everything from my terrarium was obtained from my backyard, including my plant.
So this particular plant does not require a lot of water, which is why I probably am able to grow it. But really, you don't even have to water this plant. You don't water it daily. You don't water it weekly. I mean, twice a month is probably more than enough for watering this plant. So my suggestion is if you do want to water it daily, just using a little spritz water bottle and just spritz it, mist it. Probably only twice a week, that would be plenty.
Well, that's my Dragonfire paddle plant terrarium. Hope you enjoyed it.